Okay, so we're stood here with Holly Sturgis. She is an apprenticeship support and knowledge ambassador, and also Natasha Cottrell, who is a business and administrator apprentice at WorkPays. So, Holly, if we could start with you, what is WorkPays and what do you do?
So WorkPays is one of the four providers for the Apprenticeship Support and Knowledge Programme. We're funded by the Department for Education and the National Apprenticeship Service. So what we do is WorkPays works across the Midlands, goes to lots of schools, education establishments, and gives students, teachers, parents lots of information about apprenticeships, how they work and how they can get themselves into apprenticeships.
So you're the expert then when it comes to apprenticeships. Where can people find one?
Great website is the government website. So anybody who is interested in apprenticeships, I recommend they go to gov.uk, search for apprenticeships on there. It will take them to the Find an Apprenticeship website. They can create an account, dead simple to do. All they need is their email address and their phone number. Once they've created an account, they can start searching for and applying for apprenticeships. They can create alerts so they're not missing out on the opportunities which they're really, really interested in.
Okay, so just quickly, if a school is watching today and thinking, how do I find out more information about apprenticeships, what can they do?
They can have one of us guys come in to deliver lots of apprenticeship support. They can go to amazingapprenticeships.com and request their support, and we can come in and deliver assemblies, workshops, careers fairs, teacher upskilling, anything to do with apprenticeships, we can come in and support that.
So let's bring in Natasha, Business Administration Apprentice. How are you finding it?
I'm finding it a really good experience. It's a really good opportunity just to learn some good new skills while doing it like physically, not just sitting and reading like textbooks and things. And it's really good to work within like such a fantastic team.
That's great. So now, before we go any further, we asked our panel to send in a photo of themselves when they were younger. So let's look at yours, Natasha. So if you could just tell us, how old are you in this photo?
About 5 years old.
5 years old. So did 5-year-old Natasha have any idea that you would be doing what you're doing now?
No idea at all. I didn't really have like any direction of like a dream career or anything I wanted to go into.
So earlier we mentioned looking beyond stereotypes and celebrating inclusion and diversity in apprenticeships. This is something that means a lot to you. How has your employer supported you?
They've been absolutely fantastic. Never made me feel any different at all, regardless of like age, and I'm treated like any other employee.
That's really good. So thank you for sharing that. What advice can you give to anyone who may be experiencing something similar to yourself?
So I've like struggled with mental health in the past, and I think it's really important to never let any personal barriers come in between what you want to do.
Great, so now we have a question for you, Holly, from the audience.
Why should employers offer apprenticeships?
I think it's a great way for employers to diversify their workforce. They get in fresh, young talent. So not only can they mould that individual to become the best possible employee that they can make them, but they really get to nurture that talent from a younger age. And it's a great way for them to actually say, do you know what, we've got some young people coming in here, let's see what it is they've got. And it just makes their business a lot more inclusive.
So Natalie online has asked us a question. What key skills are you looking for in an apprentice?
Enthusiasm, definitely. Passion. For employers, they're not looking for an expert because it's their job to make them an expert. They want somebody who's proactive and somebody who's got a real interest in what it is that they want to go into in the future. Okay, great question. So keep them coming in using the chat facility or hashtag BigAssembly on Twitter.
So earlier we asked, can apprentices earn more than £3.40 an hour? If you missed that, there's a section underneath the chat window. You just have to scroll down a bit.
And the answer is yes, apprentices must be paid at least £3.90 an hour, but a lot of employees pay more for skills, with some apprenticeships levels paying up to £9 an hour. And 92% people got that right.
The next question is, how many types of apprentices are there? Let us know what you think, and we'll reveal the answer later.
Also, if you miss anything from today and you want to watch the Big Assembly back again, we'll be available on demand 24 hours time. Okay, so let's move on to our next two panellists from Morrisons.
So next on our panel is Maisam Rashid, a business and retail management higher degree apprentice, and Philip Dunkley, a personal manager at Morrisons. Hang on, so we just had apprentice and degree in the same sentence. So how does that work?
So how it works in theory is that it allows you to combine both university and real-life work experience together, bringing the best of both worlds. It allows me to actually physically learn and put what I learn into practice in work.
That's great. So talk us through your daily tasks as a manager. Do you have a lot of responsibility?
So I work in retail, and retail is a very on the feet environment where you're always thinking no 2 days are the same. I'm literally coming in, and every day I'm facing new challenges and exploring new avenues, shall I say.
Okay, that's great. So we're going to take a look at a quick photo. Once you look at this, Mason, you know, there's a photo of you with there. What have you actually got in your hand?
That was at the National Asian Apprenticeship Award. I won the Business Apprentice of the Year award, and that was a great award. Obviously, in terms of recognition and with the Big Assembly's theme, it's for Asian. In our Asian culture, there's a certain stigma around apprenticeships, and we're not very inclusive, and we don't know what they are. So I think it's a great way to promote apprenticeships across the nation, really.
Okay, that's great. So we're going to bring in Philip next. So tell us what your job is.
So basically, I'm the people manager in a Morrisons store. I'm also a business partner to the store manager. My role really is to look after colleagues' well-being, mental health, make sure they've got the right tools for the job. If they want to get on in the business, make sure that the avenues are open to them so that they can do so. And yeah, basically, it's a very good job that I really, really love. I'm proud to work for Morrisons, and yeah, I love developing people. And
That's great.
That's what Morrisons is all about.
Yeah, so why is it that
People.
Morrisons actually offer apprenticeships?
Basically, it's a chance for people to get the foot in the door, to earn why they learn, and yeah, basically get some skills that will stay with them for the rest of their lives. And if they want it and like working in retail or the other, opportunities that we offer, that it's there, the avenues are there, and they can get on and work their way up through the management structure.
So do you have a careers website then? Where do you advertise your apprenticeship opportunities?
All our jobs are advertised on the Morrisons website, so if you are interested in coming to work for us, have a look on the Morrisons website. All the jobs are on there.
Okay then, Philip. So imagine you've got a big stack of apprenticeship applications. What sort of words and phrases are you looking for to stand out from them applications?
Someone who's good at teamwork, enthusiasm, resilience, a very good communicator, things like phrases like that. And basically, it's done on a point scoring system as well. So it's done very, very fairly.
Fantastic. So we've got another audience question now.
What would you have done having an apprenticeship?
Say that again, sorry.
Would you have done an apprenticeship?
I would have done an apprenticeship. Unfortunately, when I was younger, that wasn't the avenues and opportunities there for me. But yes, I would have definitely done an apprenticeship or a degree as well. So, yeah.
Okay, so let's take a question from our online viewers. Keep them coming in using the chat facility. So we've got a question here from Hayward. Thank you, Hayward. What is the best advice you would give to someone who is unsure whether to go to university or go down the apprenticeship route? Mason, would you like to answer?
Personally, I would say it's 100%. It's a no-brainer, really. You're getting paid whilst you're learning. So would you rather pay to learn, or would you rather get paid to learn? That is my answer to that.
Thank you both. So now earlier we asked you how many types of apprenticeships are available. The answer is 710 apprenticeships. So now let's slide over to the BBC.
Okay, so here we find Paige Neil Holder, a digital journalist apprentice, and Carmel O'Grady, assistant editor at 5 Live and part of the BBC's internal RAISE network.
So Paige, let's start with you. What's it like working for the BBC, and did you ever imagine that you'd work there?
It's definitely very interesting, shall I say. With news, if you've got breaking news, there's always people like running around the office. There's always something new every day. So it's definitely experience. And no, I never imagined myself working for the BBC. I just never imagined that. So it's quite amazing that I've been able to get here.
That's great. And, we've heard a lot in the news about the BBC wanting to be more digital focused. So what is a digital journalist apprentice?
So my role consists of, so we've been like trained in how to write articles, how to film and shoot videos, and how to edit. And then within that, because technology is like changing now, we've been taught how to film on an iPhone. So before, the BBC was very like using massive cameras, but now you can just like whip out your iPhone and film on that. And we've also been taught how to make radio packages, so it's quite all-rounded with skills.
Oh, fantastic. So why is it that you chose an apprenticeship? Why not like media studies at college or something like that?
If I'm being quite honest, university just wasn't the route for me. I think by the time I got to A-levels, I was just really just fed up of full-time education. And as well, the fees for university just really put me off. And I'm kind of the person that I like learn on the job a lot better, more of a practical learner. So the idea of being in lectures just really didn't appeal to me at all. So yeah, an apprenticeship was definitely the route for me.
That's great. And Carmel, you didn't do an apprenticeship, but you've got a unique story about getting into media, haven't you?
Yeah, I did a university degree, but not in media studies. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I moved home and kind of was trying to figure out how to get into a career, to get into a media career, and started doing some voluntary work, did a couple of courses in radio production, and then realised that what I had was a really good understanding of football. I'd spent my entire childhood and teenage years going to football matches. So I started doing football match reports for small radio stations, and then obviously got to meet people, got to kind of know some more people and work my way in that way.
Okay, that's great. So let's hear about the internal BBC Raise network. What is it and what does it do?
It is, so the BBC has a number of staff networks, and they're all about being a more inclusive and diverse place to work. So there is a network for people with disabilities, there is a network for people from black and minority ethnic backgrounds, and the network that I'm on is all about class, because I think a lot of people think that you have to be posh to work at the BBC, that you have to have a degree, that you have to speak in a certain way and present in a certain way. And we want to make it really clear that that's not the case, and we want to make the BBC a place where, you know, everybody feels like they've got a chance and a way to get on, and it's a great place to work.
That's great. So let's take a question from our audience and online viewers. So we have an audience question.
How can I make sure I stand out from others in my job application?
Paige, would you like to answer?
So I think that the best way to make sure you stand out is to definitely just stay true to yourself. I know that with my job application, it might have been a bit tongue-in-cheek with some of the replies that I answered to it, but just stay true to yourself. The BBC aren't looking for like the same type of person. They want unique people that are going to bring something new. And I think that applies to any company as well. They want someone that's going to be able to bring a fresh idea to the company. So just stay true to yourself.
Okay, that's great. And we've got an online question also from Mr. Bowen, thank you. It says, my students want to know if it is hard to get an apprenticeship and if they need to go through a job interview. Carmel, could you answer that?
There is, I wouldn't say it's like your traditional interview process. The application process, I think, is some short questions, little video films you make of yourself, talking about ideas you might have, and then there is kind of a recruitment day with lots of activities and things, kind of group activities, and really it's about potential, so not what you already have done, but what you're capable of learning and taking on. So I think it's less worry about kind of what you've got kind of already learned and more about focusing on the future and what it is you're ready to take on.
Great questions. Keep them coming in and we'll blitz through as many as we can very shortly. Just use the chat facility at the side of the screen. We've also just put another question for you. Scroll down to answer it in the chat box below.
Okay, so let's now move over and say hello to Kean Short, Group Apprentices Manager at Bakkavor, and Jasmine Pang, who is a HR hire apprentice. So, Jasmine, you didn't have a place at uni waiting for you, and then you decided to do an apprenticeship in HR.
Yeah, so I had a place at uni, but then the closer I got to actually going and in the middle of my A-levels, I wasn't really certain about it. I wasn't sure it was a path for me. But I knew what sort of career I was looking for at the end of it, so I was just researching like graduate schemes you could do after uni just to make sure it was something I wanted to do. And then I went on the Bakkavor website because it's local to where I live, and I realised you could do an apprenticeship scheme. And I was always interested in HR, and it was just a way to learn while getting paid, while learning on the job as well. So it was kind of like a head start into the career I wanted.
So working in HR, I imagine that you have to look beyond then to work hard to make sure that everybody is included in your workplace.
Yeah, so Bakkavor as a company itself is an incredibly diverse company with so many different people from different backgrounds, different types who are working for it. And in HR, you come into contact with everyone. And so it's just really important to be respectful of everyone, realise everyone's there for their job, be kind to everyone, and just enjoy yourself and no one else is there because they want to do well as well.
That's great. So, Kian, can you explain what you do and what kind of business Bakkavor is?
Sure, yeah. So Bakkavor are one of the world's leading fresh food manufacturers. So a lot of people don't know who we are because we don't put our name on anything. We make a lot of the supermarket's own brand food in the UK. So if you've ever had a cream cake, a pizza, salad, a ready meal, we've probably made it. So what my role is my role is to support all of our sites. So we have more than 20 sites across the UK. So I work with them to work out what apprenticeships we're going to offer in the future and where have we got talent shortages and where can we be best suited to have a program for somebody to allow them to progress as quickly as they want.
That's great. And so why are you so passionate about creating and managing apprenticeship opportunities at Bakkavor?
Yeah, so when I was at school, apprenticeships did not have a good reputation whatsoever. That was, the careers advisor told you to go for an apprenticeship if you couldn't do anything else, which was not the right advice. As I got older and I started to get involved in training and apprenticeships, and I started offering apprenticeships at the sites I worked at, and I started to realise not only the impact you could have on an apprentice by offering them an opportunity, but the impact an apprentice could have on the site themselves, and by changing mindset and getting fresh ideas in there, it was a no-brainer for me, so now we just offer as many as we can.
That's great. So we've got lots of questions coming in online. Keep sending them in using the chat facility, and we're minutes away from our big question and answer discussion. So now we have an audience question.
What did your parents say when you said you were doing an apprenticeship?
Jasmine?
So my parents were really excited for me. They were really proud of me because I wasn't just doing what all my peers were doing, going to uni for the sake of it. I kind of took my own path, did what I wanted, got a head start in my career. So yeah, they're really excited for me.
That's really good. Keep your questions coming in then, guys.
And make sure you're using social media. Finally, this brings us to Anis Shafiq, a data analysis apprentice, and Mel Davies, Future Careers Development Lead at Virgin Media. So Anis, let's start with you, because you've actually been to university, but then decided to do something different. Why?
So when I left university, I got a job, but then after a while it came a bit boring for me, so I didn't mean to join. So I went to move into a different career where I would find it exciting, challenging, and have the opportunity to progress. So here I am.
So as we mentioned, National Apprenticeship Week 2020 is encouraging us to celebrate our differences. So we've heard about the internal network at the BBC and how workplaces assist your mental health, but you would also like to say thank you to Virgin Media for the support you've had.
Yes, definitely. But any support that I'm needing, they've always been there, and always ask me if I need them to go to them. But I'm really grateful for all the support they've given to me. So without that, I don't think I'll be able to carry out my job.
Yeah, that's great. And Mel, you must feel really proud when you hear about the support Anis has received at Virgin Media.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really, really important to us at Virgin Media that we make sure that people have the opportunity to be the best that they can be. So Anis has been fantastic and he's doing a great job within his role. So our team, his team, we're all happy to support him to achieve his potential.
And you lead with Future Careers Development. Why is that important?
Hugely important to Virgin Media. So we've had apprenticeships in Virgin Media now for 11 years. We've had over 1,500 people have come through our apprenticeship programme. So it's a really important feeder for our business. And we do a massive range of different apprenticeship programmes ranging from level 2 up to a level 7. And in the last 3 years, we've diversified a lot in terms of what we're looking for our apprenticeship programmes. So yes, we have our technicians and our engineers, but we also, as Anis is doing a data analyst apprenticeships, we have people doing finance and legal, project management, so we've got some roles that are live already as well on our website as well, so please go and have a look and see if any of those pique your interest. So yeah, it's a really important part of Virgin Media to have this future careers and talent coming through our business.
Definitely. And Anis, you've had the university experience, haven't you? What's the one thing that surprised you the most about doing an apprenticeship?
So the first time that I left university, I found that I've got a lot of stuff that I learned going to my job. So then I thought, what was the point of my degree at the time? But now, since I've started my apprenticeship, I've been going to university. So all the stuff that I've been learning, I was able to apply in the workplace straight away. And on top of that, I have people around who value help, they're able to give me support. And I feel like I learn a lot more quickly in the workplace.
Time's going so quickly, but we've got a question for you from the audience, Anise.
Is it hard having to learn stuff whilst you also work?
So is it hard to learn whilst also working?
Personally, I think it's a lot more easier actually, because the stuff that you are learning at university, you apply in the workplace straight away. So it's just all about managing your time, make sure that everything you learn, and then you can apply in the workplace. You have to learn a lot more quickly.
That's great. So keep your questions coming in, because just in a minute we'll blitz through as many as we can with our panel.
But first, Jamal Edwards tasked apprentices to fire up the UK with new track from grind legend P Money. Here's a little taster.
Yeah. 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 Yo, how you feel is how I felt. Hungry to achieve as well as gain wealth. People telling you to contain yourself. I didn't listen to them. I listened to me, cause to get to the top you can take yourself. Someone can start the journey off for you, but the rest of it you gotta take yourself. Let your ideas hit you, brace yourself. This is grand, we ain't like everyone else. We built this scene without anyone's help. Radio blocked us, but we rate ourselves. Look how many stations we've made ourselves. Got our own decks and we got our own DJs. Now every day we can play ourselves. Hijack airwaves and made ourselves. Now there's way more than reloads in this world. Trust me, if you wanna be a guy like me, first off, gotta have drive like me. 1 AM burn 1,000 CDs, one at a time. You ain't had school nights like me. On top of that, didn't know who liked me, cause back then we never had likes, my G. Went from Bluetooth and tunes to a friends to DMs, where I gotta translate Chinese, cause this one's for all my people. Any profession, wake up, this is your calling. This one's for those that need it. No more sleeping late, let's get it this morning.
Okay, love that. And, we'll stick around because we'll play that whole track at the end of the big assembly.
So we're still joined here with our panel from this morning. Just a reminder of who we've got. We've got Holly and Natasha from WorkPays, Sam and Philip from Morrison's, Paige and Carmel from the BBC, Jasmine and Cian from Bakkavor, and Anise and Michelle from Virgin Media.
So earlier we asked what percentage of apprentices stay in employment once they finish, and the answer is 90% stay in employment.
Keep your questions coming in. Let's start firing through as many as we can right now. So
this question's for Natalie. What is the application process like? It's from Natalie. So what is the application process like for BBC apprenticeships, as I'm interested in journalism? Paige?
Okay, so I think there was 3 stages. So the first stage, you have to apply online. Don't do what I did. I applied hours before the deadline, so I wouldn't recommend that. But yeah, you had to kind of just talk about yourself. Then there was, I think, a video interview, stage bit, and then obviously the assessment centre. So I had to travel up to Birmingham, and then we got interviewed there, and then thankfully I managed to get the job. So it's quite, it was my first ever proper job interview, so it was definitely something new to me, but there's nothing stopping you guys from being able to get through it too. I mean, if I can do it, you guys can do it too.
So Crew UTC have asked a question, and I'm going to ask this to you, Cian, from Bakkavor. What key skills are you looking for as an apprentice?
Okay, so the number one thing we look for is that motivation and that desire to want to be an apprentice. We know that people are not coming to us ready-made, polished with those skills. So, can you demonstrate and explain to us why you want to be there, and do you have that motivation to succeed and that passion for being an apprentice? If we have that, then we can mould the rest. So that's really what we can teach.
Okay, great. So now we have a question from Johnny. So thank you, Johnny. How long do degree apprenticeships usually last? Holly, would you like to answer?
Yeah, so it really depends. It depends on what apprenticeship they're actually doing, so what industry are they going into. As a general rule of thumb, though, degree apprenticeships can take anywhere between about 3 years up to about 6 years.
So I think, Sam, you're on a degree apprenticeship, aren't you? So how long's your degree apprenticeship taken you?
My degree apprenticeship is actually 3 years, so obviously it's equivalent to a real university degree, so that's why it takes 3 years.
So here we've got a question from Zach, and this is aimed at the BBC. So Carmel, do the BBC offer IT or cyber security apprenticeships?
There's two types of apprenticeships at the BBC. One is production and digital journalism, which is what Paige is doing, and the other one is a business and tech apprenticeship. So I think IT falls in under that apprenticeship, but all the information is on bbc.co.uk/careers, or you can look on Twitter and Instagram, BBC Get In, and there's all the information there. And I know that the applications for digital and digital journalism and production apprenticeships open later this month, so it's quite good time to go and have a look on those sites and find out more.
Okay, great. And now we've got a question from Haywood. Thank you. So what is the best advice you would give to someone who is unsure whether to go down the university route or go down the apprenticeship route? Who would like to answer? Philip, have you got any advice?
Just basically look at both avenues. There's no real right or wrong answer, so you could do an apprenticeship and sort of realise that's not for you, and then do a degree. So just basically don't be scared to make a mistake. The future's yours. I was going to be a bit cheesy today and say the future's also bright, but it's what you put in. So if you put in 100% effort, you'll get a hell of a lot out of it. So, yeah.
So we have lots more questions here. So one of the key concerns that is spoken about a lot is wages for apprenticeships. Obviously, we discussed that earlier, but has kind of any development plans at any of the firms, such as Bakkavor, to stop this from happening? So what kind of initial salary would they be on as a, well, it wouldn't be a starter salary or...
Okay, so currently our starting salaries for apprenticeships starting next year, they've just been increased after a review. We regularly review our salaries to make sure that we stay competitive. So we're now starting our advanced, which is our like a level 3 apprentice, which is the equivalent of A-levels. They start on 16,000 and then move on to 18,000 in year 2, and then our higher apprenticeships, they start on 17,500 and then move to 19,500 in year 2. So, yeah, we always strive to make sure we're paying competitively, way above the minimum wage.
Fantastic. Some fantastic opportunities there. So, unfortunately, that's all the questions we've got time for today. Please keep your questions coming in, and our online team will make sure that all of your questions are answered. So, thank you for tuning in to the Big Assembly. This is our 4th one during National Apprenticeship Week.
And we'd like to say a massive thank you to all our panellists. Give them a round of applause today.
So thank you very much for tuning in, and keep your questions coming in online. Bye.
Yo, how you feel is how I felt. Hungry to achieve as well as gain wealth. People telling you to contain yourself. I didn't listen to them. I listened to me, cause to get to the top you can take yourself. Someone can start the journey off for you, but the rest of it you gotta take yourself. Let your ideas hit you, brace yourself. This is grand, we ain't like everyone else. We built this scene without anyone's help. Radio blocked us, but we rate ourselves. Look how many stations we've made ourselves. Got our own decks and we got our own DJs. Now every day we can play ourselves. Hijack airwaves and made ourselves. Now there's way more than reloads in this world. Trust me, if you wanna be a guy like me, first off, gotta have drive like me. 1 AM burn 1,000 CDs, one at a time. You ain't had school nights like me. On top of that, didn't know who liked me, cause back then we never had likes, my G. Went from Bluetooth and tunes to my friends to DMs where I gotta translate Chinese, cause this one's for all my people. Any profession, wake up, this is your calling. This one's for those that need it. No more sleeping late, let's get it this morning. Stop putting off hard work, get it over and done with. Trust me, why are you stalling? Take yourself off silent. That's opportunity calling. This one goes out to those alike. Do not miss the chance, do not miss the signs. I teach these lot, read between the lines. Forget the new year, now is your time. You're different, so they're gonna watch you more. That's cool, show them your energy's raw. Out of 10, make sure all 10 of them sure. Show them you're ready, what you telling them for. There's gonna be people that say you shouldn't. Blaze your own trail, and I bet next year you would have done things when you thought you couldn't. That's how you become an unstoppable guy or woman. When I'm on grind, I sound fire, cause from young this was my burning desire. Different parts of the world stand and admire. You know that it's hot when the flame is blue, and I'm gassed cause Lewisham is my supplier. Everyone that I listened to was a liar, but I got tools, big money, multiplier. Never retire, I'm more of a trier, and I'm sick and tired of hearing all these songs talking about what you got on your debit. There's so many people, they never credit. 2020 is your time to go get it. We rely on the creatives. Just look at what a new generation generated. I didn't want to get a job, I asked questions and gain knowledge on the thing I created. This one's for all my people, any profession. Wake up, this is your calling. This one's for those that need it. No more sleeping late, let's get it this morning. That's opportunity calling. This one goes out to those alike. Do not miss the chance, do not miss the signs. I teach these lot, read between the lines. Forget the new year, now is your time. This one's for all my people, any profession. Wake up, this is your calling. This one's for those that need it. No more sleeping late, let's get it this morning. Stop putting off hard work, get it over and done with. Trust me, why are you stalling? Take yourself off silent. That's opportunity calling. This one's for all my people, any profession. Wake up, this is your calling. This one's for those that need it. No more sleeping late, let's get it this morning. Stop putting off hard work, get it over and done with. Trust me, why are you stalling? Take yourself off silent. That's opportunity calling.
The new generation have so many skills that are essential to a modern workforce. So many people that I work with today started off their careers as apprentices. My name is Kate, I'm a social media manager at Channel 4. Apprenticeships are so valuable because they give a really authentic voice and open the door to candidates regardless of experience or education.
My name is Alice McDonnell, I'm a senior community manager at White Hat. Shola is a brilliant example of how apprenticeships can really transform the trajectory for a young person. She has brilliant ideas and she wants to get out there and put them into practice.
The enthusiasm and passion that you get from an apprentice is such a valuable asset in itself. I'm so happy that TAF is involved in Jamal's project. It's the perfect opportunity for him, and in return, he gives 100% fresh ideas and dedication.
I'm Simon Newton, I'm the Managing Director of Dark & Taylor. Our apprenticeship scheme is the cornerstone on which the sustainable growth of our business has been based. Katie's involvement in Jamal's project has been a great opportunity for her to transfer some of the skills she's learned on her apprenticeship into something different.
Apprenticeships have a hugely positive impact on the individual apprentice as well as on the business and on the UK economy as a whole.
Small businesses get 95% of the apprenticeship training costs funded.
Ultimately, they have a positive effect on the company's finance and they increase the bottom line.